Hey, Courage Class. Welcome to the podcast. My name is Lindsay and I am the creator and host of this podcast. Look, I know that you are incredibly busy, so anytime that I can get someone to sit down with me for 45 to 60 minutes of their day, I want to make sure that I am over-delivering on the content that I share with you. In addition to that, if you like what you heard on the podcast, can I ask you for a favor? Can you subscribe to the newsletter? I'll leave the link below. This is an opportunity to keep in touch on a weekly basis, and I like to think of it as a love letter in support of you. Thanks so much for being here. I truly appreciate the time that you spend to listen to Courage Class. Have a great week. Yes, welcome to the podcast. My name is Lindsay and I am the creator and host of this podcast. Look, I know that you are incredibly busy, so anytime that I can get someone to sit down with me for 45 to 60 minutes of their day, I want to make sure that I am over-delivering on the content that I share with you. In addition to that, if you like what you heard on the podcast, can I ask you for a favor? Can you subscribe to the newsletter? I'll leave the link below. This is an opportunity to keep in touch on a weekly basis, and I like to think of it as a love letter in support of you. Thanks so much for being here. I truly appreciate the time that you spend to listen to Courage Class. Have a great week. Hey, Courage Class. My name is Lindsay and welcome to the podcast. Today, I am thrilled to introduce Ko Im. She's an award-winning storyteller, published author, journalist, certified wellness instructor, and the woman who wrote the Newsweek essay that made our entire community feel seen. She has spent over 15 years shaping narratives from local newsrooms to the pages of national publications. But here's what makes Ko so different. She doesn't just tell stories. She uses storytelling to bring people back to themselves. And in this episode of Courage Class, she is bringing all of that. Her voice, her wisdom, her permission slips, straight to our community. She shares with us how to leverage and develop your unique voice. This one is not to be missed. Welcome you to Courage Class, and thank you again so much for your time.
Thank you so much for reaching out, Lindsay. I am looking forward to this conversation.
Yes, very much. Likewise as well. I want to start off with a serious question, and I'm really curious to hear from you. What compelled you to write the Newsweek article, "I am an Asian woman and I am not okay," right after the Atlanta spa shootings?
Thank you for that question. And I remember seeing the news, and I used to be in the news and report the news, and sometimes would be a little bit numb to some of it. But this particular shooting really hit me hard in terms of thinking about the community. And I remember going to sleep and not being able to turn off my mind. I know myself in terms of how I need to process. And so I just started writing my thoughts down and kind of started to think, how can I amplify some of my thoughts that probably others in the community were having?
Yes.
And I reached out to an editor at Newsweek and in turn made it a very personal essay about how I myself was not feeling okay, that I myself was feeling these feelings of vulnerability and needed to say something so that others knew how I and the community were feeling.
Yes.
And really got some amazing but sad feedback from it of, I didn't know you felt this way, or I feel the same way too. I'm really glad that I was able to put the message out there.
Yeah, no, it was really such a moving, such an incredible piece. When I read it, I really felt like you were giving language and frankly platform to something that we had all known this all along. And it wasn't, at least from my perspective, it wasn't a coincidence that this young man walked into this spa or massage parlor and committed this. And I think that he even had used the justification of it was an addiction of his. But there was something so much more sinister about the context. And again, you just put language to certainly what I was feeling, but so many in our community, what we were experiencing. And I want to talk a little bit about your background and where you grew up. I know that you raised in Guam. I'm wondering if you would be willing to just talk a little bit about how growing up in Guam really shaped your voice and your willingness to speak up. And how did it also shape your values?
Mm. Absolutely. I love talking about how I grew up on Guam, which, as some of you may know, is an American territory in the Pacific Ocean in the middle of nowhere. So it is a little bit of a bubble and absolutely a melting pot of so many cultures, East Asian, South Asian, American, right? I grew up with the Cartoon Networks and the YM magazines as
Yes.
I'm dating myself.
Yes,
But
yes. 17 magazine.
exactly. And I was lucky to grow up in such a diverse place,
Mm,
and having everyone kind of celebrate who they were without having to shout it. And
mm,
at the same time, accept who everyone was. I remember having lunches where, there'd be Korean food, Japanese food, Taiwanese food, and it
yeah.
was all just kind of just the way things were.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, I come to Philadelphia for college,
Yes.
and I loved my college experience so much, but also experience a little bit of a culture shock in terms of how I realized race was politicized
Mm,
on the US mainland.
yes.
I joined some communities like the Asian Pacific American communities, some of the student groups, and was able to participate in a program where I learned about the history of Asians in America, what being Asian American looked and felt like over the past decades with so many challenges and so much advocacy. Now, I'll say that when I grew up on Guam, I had the great opportunity to work for the local Gannett newspaper there and realize how media can amplify voices
Mm,
and shape narratives, and gave me an excuse to ask a lot of questions and talk to a lot of people.
yeah.
And I slowly, especially through my collegiate experience, found my voice.
Mm,
And it tapped into this feeling I had growing up as an immigrant, which in Korean culture, you're taught to kind of not stir the pot and go along with what everyone's saying and not raise your voice. And thankfully, kind of had the encouragement silently of this American culture to be vocal, to
mm,
be an advocate. And so I thought, especially with the Newsweek article,
yeah.
there weren't a lot of people that were going to speak up from an Asian American standpoint about something like this, right? We've been told kind of socially not to
Yes.
speak up and cause a stir.
Mm.
So that's kind of how I slowly found my voice from a young age, and then it kind of accelerated from there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, what a beautiful opportunity when you describe how you grew up and how diversity, you didn't have to shout it from the rooftops. It was just something that was celebrated, it was accepted. What a beautiful experience. And I'm wondering if you could just take us back to that moment where you step off the plane onto the mainland. You're getting ready to go into college. And I'm wondering if you could put language to what you were experiencing and what that must have felt like for you as someone who, again, grew up in this beautifully diverse culture.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And not to say that it was perfect, right? I mean,
sure,
I would still have ignorant remarks within my family, or uh probably like when kids are very young and they tease each other for
sure.
something. But um I remember in Philadelphia, I was walking around the community, and, I got called like a not so nice name. And I was like, oh, that's a new negative experience. And speaking of the student groups, I also kind of at first didn't understand why these student groups needed to exist. Was it just like, oh, I'm missing home, I'm missing my culture, and um, realized like, no, we needed representation. And
Wow.
in college, I also wrote for the Daily Pen, which was our daily newspaper, and got to meet representatives like Mike Honda and understood kind of the importance of representation on a political scale and what are the issues that we're fighting for and how important it is to have voices like his really amplified.
Even to fast forward a couple of years from the spa shootings, these same themes and patterns of racism and hypersexualization of Asian American women, they're still present today and even showing up. What are some of the practices that you engage even today to take care of yourself per this current moment that we have?
Yeah, and I found yoga as a way to heal myself. You know, growing up with some trauma as an immigrant, and found meditation through yoga.
Yeah.
And then I realized I could help other people heal too. And so some of the practices that I do, you know, beyond kind of moving through the trauma within your body, are meditations such as metta meditation, which really cultivate compassion and empathy for others, right? And a lot of meditation, I think, is not trying to just change everything and but acknowledge kind of all the beauty of life that is chaos and happiness and change and accept that and move through it. So it's really helped me just simply breathe through difficult situations, but also like in the spa shooting, like honor the feelings that I have and how do I release them in a constructive way.
Did you learn that even the language of talking about your feelings? Did you learn that growing up, or is that something that you really cultivated when you know, you're like, no,
No, I'm shaking
we're
my head
background then.
because
We're growing up
um,
experience.
I don't think therapy or mental health was a word or phrase that we used in my immigrant family.
Yes.
And I luckily kind of stepped into it in college. College is such a formative experience, right? But went into student services and found out, oh my gosh, I can have a therapist of someone who is of color too. Like that was such a blessing for me in terms of having someone somewhat understand the background that I was coming to each session with. And I would, you know, now I think therapy is like everyone talks about it, it's normalized. But at that time for me, it was such a new and incredible game changer.
Yeah, I think a lot of us can relate to that feeling of not talking about, or that experience rather of not talking about mental health or feelings or therapy. And I myself found it much later in life as well. So that's incredible. I'm curious to know. I'm just trying to think of the person who's sitting at home who's really contemplating. Finding a practice where they can care for themselves when they're feeling the weight of the world. And Ko, you are certainly someone who is, I feel like, light years away from many of us in terms of your ability to just sort of ground yourself and to use your voice and to use your authenticity and to amplify it on a platform. I mean, it's so admirable, the work that you have done over the course of your career. For that person who's sitting at home and really struggling, what would you say to that person?
Yeah. First of all, Lindsay, thank you for those kind words and for seeing me. I just want to remind the person at home that despite your beautiful compliments, I'm also human. I go through the range of emotions. I'm a parent to a toddler. I am not perfect. My patience is tested sometimes. Um, and I've also, as you can tell from my story, been doing some of this of like finding my voice, of writing feelings down, of practicing self-care. I've been doing this for years. So if you are feeling lost, and it's just the first step, and what I would advise is look to your curiosity. What is kind of feeling dynamic or interesting to you? Try things out, right? For some people, there are different kinds of yoga and meditation. For some people, a restorative yoga might agitate you more. For some people, you might need a specific kind of breathing of meditation. For some people, it might just mean gardening, right? People, we don't call it meditation, but when you're in the zone and you're happy in the zone and content in the zone,
Yes.
that can be your sense of meditation. So I also have a short Spotify album of various meditations that you can do in your modern life, like while cooking, while washing your hands, right? We're so automated today, it's even more will be with AI,
Yes.
that it's that much more important to remember the human side of connecting to the real world. So when you're washing your hands, are you actually feeling the water and the soap, or has it become so automated that you're just checked out? I'm not saying you have to be absolutely tuned in to every single thing that you're doing, because our brain is actually designed to help us be efficient. But sometimes that helps you become more present and more grounded in the moment and take you away from like the world, imaginary world that you're in, anxiety or depression or overwhelm.
Yes, yes. I love that you personalize it too, that it can be, a formal meditation practice, that it can be different types of yoga, that it can be literally listening to a meditation that focuses on washing your hands. It doesn't have to be something that is like, oh, now I have to change this significant aspect of my life and I have to overhaul, A, B, and C, and then I have to start waking up at 4:30 in the morning and cold plunging. Although
Yeah.
that's your jam, like go do that, right?
Yeah,
Like don't do
absolutely.
it.
Some people like
Yeah.
need that kind of motivation, routine, or
Yeah.
something big to
Yes.
like get them out of something. Like,
Yes.
I've led yoga retreats. Like some people like jump into yoga retreats because they're like, I can't deal with like, say, my divorce or whatever it is. Like, and that works too. But like be open to whatever that looks like and listen to what your heart and your mind and your body are telling you, like what this might help.
And I really heard that too, because when you were talking about, I'm the mom of a toddler and I have my good days and my bad days. But the first step is just sort of this realization of I have feelings and I have a range of feelings. So just to be clear, just for our listeners, then this doesn't mean that you have to perpetually find this place of happy. Like in
Absolutely
order
not.
to sustain yourself from like the outside world and like all of the narratives that are just thrust upon us, this is not about just being, you know, like the whole time.
Yeah, yeah.
It's about
I aim
yeah.
for just this overall sense of contentment. I think
Mm,
happiness is fleeting, right? It's an emotion that
yeah.
passes, like a breath that passes, like a cloud that passes. Hopefully, we get it to a point or points in our lives, because things change all the time, where contentment can exist because your values are coexisting with your actions and you feel a sense of not achievement, but contentment about where you are at life,
Is it
right? It
is
could be so simple as like,
yes.
oh, I got the sunset today and it was so marvelous. I'm so glad that I'm able to marvel today. How lucky am I? And
Uh,
so when I am in a state of gratitude and it comes naturally, quote unquote, naturally to
mm,
me, then
mm,
I know I'm in a good place that day. But
fascinating.
not every moment, not every day has to be this fantastic, marvelous sunset seeking thing.
Yes.
It's a matter of like, overall, am I happy with, content with where I am today? Am I safe? Do I have friends and family? Do I feel connected to myself and my community? Right.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say. And sorry, you had a question.
No, no, no. I'm so glad that you elaborated on that because one of the things that I'm curious to know about is so contentment, then, it feels, can you be content inside of a negative situation? When somebody has sort of this expectation, when I'm sensing that I'm supposed to be quiet or submissive, right? If we were just tap into one of the many stereotypes of Asian American women, how would you recommend, because that's not the sunset, if, the sunset effect, how would you recommend that I sort of is it being content in that situation, or is it acceptance? How do I work through that? Could you help us really understand? Um,
I think it goes back to
mm,
curiosity
uh,
of
yes.
a lot of people let those moments happen to them and think, oh, there's something subconsciously that I feel weird about this, and then let that go or let that pass. I would get curious about, why is this bothering me? Am I okay with my response? And a
Mm,
lot of times, if you tune into your body and you're like, oh, my shoulders are tensing up,
yes.
or I'm starting to, grip my fists, get curious and tune into like, oh, I'm actually angry about this, or I'm actually anxious about this. If you can stay in that moment, then you can potentially articulate without going into your fight or flight response of, oh
Hmm.
my God, I don't know what to say, um, to then be more, dare I say, content about your response in the moment. Like your mindfulness helps you be more in the moment, right? So if you can help yourself with your response to the moment in a way that aligns with your deepest sense of self. So in those moments, you find discontentment, but that's okay, as long as you're aware of your discontentment
Mm.
and understand why you're feeling this way and how you want to move in that moment.
I love
Does
that
that make
so
sense?
much. No, it absolutely does. It's almost like you have to have, and I'm a trained teacher, and so we talk a lot about like thinking about your thinking. It's almost like you have to
Mm-hmm.
have like a metacognitive stepping out of your body moment, and you're not saying that this is okay. That's at least that's what I heard. Like if someone's projecting something onto me, you're not like you said to them. You're not allowing it to happen to
Mm-hmm.
you. That part of just taking care of yourself is just acknowledging that, oh, this sucks this moment right now,
Exactly.
and staying with
And
that.
yeah, acknowledgement, and you don't have to accept everything.
Mm.
That's not the point. Like,
Oh,
you
oh,
shouldn't have
yes.
to if it's not true, right?
Mm.
Somebody says something to you or projects something to you. You have to also make sure that you're not the one projecting the projection. But yeah, just or letting things go because maybe there is nothing you can do to change that person's mind, or
Yes.
maybe that's not the best moment. So it's about, again, like you said, kind of stepping out of your body. I would say like drop into your body even more.
Mm. Yes. Yes. And giving yourself permission to just sort of feel it, like
Hmm.
whatever you're feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah,
think
no.
a
Yeah.
lot of us in our community are told to like bury things down,
Uh-huh.
or especially like maybe men are told to bury things down
Yeah.
even more and not show your emotion. Like
Yes.
it's okay.
Yeah.
You can.
Yeah. How do I sustain that over time? I mean, because as I'm talking to you, I'm like, this makes so much sense. Like, you don't have to be happy about this, what's happening to you in this moment. You can accept it, acknowledge it, feel your feelings. Is this something you have to prepare for and practice every single day? Or is it like a destination? Like, here's the achiever in me. I'm like, step
Um,
one, go, and then I go to step two, and then
I am also a recovering overachiever, so I hear you.
okay.
Um, I think it's something you can practice every day, and it doesn't
Okay.
have to be perfect. Like, don't put that
Um,
pressure on yourself. Just allow yourself to be human.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
we're not here to have to like prepare for every single thing. But, if you set aside some time for your mindfulness practice, that helps you in the moment. It's like building that muscle so that when you have to carry that load, you're ready.
You're ready. Yes. I love that. I love that. I love the visual of like building that muscle, the practice, right? That you have to kind of put into it. And maybe that's part of whatever sort of keeps you ground, like whether it's a meditation or a walk through nature, or, just being more present as you're washing your hands, whatever sort of helps you to prepare. Going to the gym, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm trying
yeah.
to think of what is the analogy. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
we kind of bonded over being parents, but
Yeah.
I'm trying to teach my toddler like the deep breath. It's harder than it is because they're so little and their brains.
Yeah.
But
I love
It
that.
could just be that one breath, right? That's why we tell people like take a breath and walk away from the situation.
Yeah.
It helps, literally helps reset the brain.
Yeah. Yeah.
That moment of pause.
Yeah. This is so beautiful. This is going to help so many people in the courage class community, and I hope beyond, because this is something that we don't talk openly about, like
Mhm.
how to actually go through that emotional experience and to get to the other side. And this to me feels like a skill that you just mentioned, talking to your trying to teach your toddler how to take deep breath. This is something that we literally, it feels like you have to teach folks how to do.
Yeah,
I
because
feel.
there, is a lot of undoing
Oh,
that we
yeah.
have to do. We become used to certain behaviors or mindsets, and a lot of this is unpacking some of, the little traumas that might build up every day, or
Yes.
um,
The microaggression.
exactly the microaggressions.
Yes.
Absolutely.
The where are you born sort of
Mhm.
questions. No.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. If it's okay with you, I would love to move into your storytelling career.
Mhm.
Would that be okay? You've had a decorated career as a journalist. You're a published author, and now you manage communications and content strategy for a gigantic global company, just this little known company, right? eBay. um, could you share with us, how has your storytelling changed over the years?
Mm. So I mentioned starting to write for the local newspaper
Yes.
in high school. Um, I think it's gone from kind of this objective, direct, kind of expected storytelling to empowered personal narrative building. And now I really try to think about it, even from a professional standpoint,
Mm,
community. How does this best serve the community? So how I approach storytelling has shifted a lot. And for me right now, it's still about empowering folks, informing folks, entertaining folks. Um, I do think that there is always room to, who knows if I want to write another piece, something that's deeply personal to me.
mm,
Um, that can always happen. And I'm also able to use that and share that skill with other folks and have them tap into what's happening in their minds, so that they can have a voice themselves.
yeah. No, it definitely, I think again, I want to share with you that when I read your piece in the Newsweek article, I just felt so connected to the words that you were saying. And it felt like you were in front of our community. And I was so grateful for the impact that your words had. And, I'm curious to know, you were sort of alluding to it, but I would love to give its own airtime to, what have you learned about the power of your own storytelling when we take up space and when we tell our stories? What shifts when you can speak your truth?
Yeah. I want to say that every time I've written something
Yeah.
super personal, and even though I've done it many, many times, it is nerve-wracking
Mm. Oh,
because it is so personal.
oh, okay.
Um, and so until it's, there's a send or a publish kind of button that is pressed, my heart is racing a little bit more. And I always say, like, if you're nervous, that means you care,
Mm.
right? It means something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Could I, sorry,
yeah.
could I ask you about your nerves? Are they nerves because you're excited to like share your truth? Are you afraid of the backlash?
Um,
What?
y- yeah, I think a little bit of both. Like, what do other people think?
Oh.
Right. When I was writing the shooting article, I think I was downright so angry that,
Mm.
you know, but still, like, there's a piece of my ego that's probably like, is this going to land well?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And, um, Does that help answer your
It
question?
absolutely does.
Yeah.
I'm just curious because I'm sort of thinking from the perspective of the person who is just beginning to speak their truth. They're like, I'm not going to show up in this way. I'm going to show up in that way because
Yeah.
that's who I am. And
Yeah.
I'm curious to know, is it, it's something I try to do as a almost 46-year-old woman, and I still really struggle with it. So, I look to you as someone very empowered and like, you're like, I am who I am, and I'm going to declare
And
it, right?
I wasn't born that way, right?
Okay.
I was very shy, low confidence. So a lot of this is parallel to confidence building
Mm,
because when it's personal, it's authentic. When you speak up, you're speaking up for yourself and the community that you're from. And it shifts something inside of you when people resonate with you.
mm,
It's like they become a part of you and you're almost bigger and better that way. And you feel like you're part of something. So you're less penetrable.
yes.
Um, and so every time I've gone to publish something, I get this enormous heartfelt response
Mm,
that reignites who I am, who I want to be.
mm,
And it's such a powerful thing. So I just want to say for the people out there,
yeah.
it is a scary thing.
Okay.
You can start small, you can go big, up to you,
Yeah.
but you will be so pleasantly surprised at how being a human is a universal experience. And it is, why you and I are connecting, Lindsay, of, that connection of feeling something
Yeah.
human.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I so appreciate you saying that. And what I really hear you encouraging our community to do is to literally to take action. And really it's taking action. It sounds like that's where your confidence building comes in. And
Mhm.
there's something so powerful about knowing that you can shift that for yourself.
Mhm. And you don't have to do it in a way that you change or put on this kind of mask or persona. Like people might say, oh, she's always, she's been on TV. She knows how to speak. She's so empowered. I would rather hear an authentic person than a
Mm,
polished person,
mm, mhm.
right? If
Yes.
you're even talking about something or behind a screen and
Yeah.
you just use your own language, use your own personality.
Yeah.
That there is someone, the world is so big, there is someone and some communities out there that absolutely mirror parts of who you are.
Mm, 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 mm. Do you see that as a journalist, as a storyteller? Are you like a authenticity like radar detector, or BS detector? Like I no, because I think I speak for many in the Courage Class community when I say that some of us feel like we've been living somebody else's life.
Mm,
A lot of the folks in the community are mid-career folks. And so we sort of wake up and we're like, wait a minute, like, this is not who I am, and I'm not going to show up in this way anymore. Um,
I think most people have an authenticity radar. Most people can tell
okay.
when you're putting on a show.
Yeah,
Most people can tell when a LinkedIn post is
like AI
really
generated.
salesy,
Oh,
right?
yeah,
Most
yeah,
people
yeah.
can tell when they're watching ads. This is an ad, right?
Mm, mm, mm,
So, and AI is kind of scarily getting good at mimicking humanity,
mm.
but that doesn't mean that we should stop ourselves from being who we are.
Yes. No, absolutely. Absolutely. I would have to agree with you. When you don't see sort of polish or perfection, that's so much more relatable when you can connect to someone else's mess, I guess. So let's say for the person listening, like I know who I am and I can show up authentically. When you tell your own story, what do you think becomes possible for that person that maybe wasn't possible before?
Most people have like a narrative in their own minds of like,
Yeah.
it's always been this way, or I'm like this because. think when you start to truly own your story, the narrative shifts and you get to own your narrative. It's not, again, what somebody did to me, or it's what I am doing
Yes.
in my life
Yes.
for myself
Yes.
or my community.
Yes.
So that's why just think about the voice in your head that telling you like you can't do that or you're not this way because of this. Like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
Is that the truth?
And everyone
And
has that voice. Yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Part of it is like socially conditioned. Part of it might be like what you heard at home or somebody said something to you once,
Yeah.
right? So just even for me, like, and I haven't really written about this, but um, the idea that I was not beautiful,
Mm.
right? Because maybe
Mm.
I didn't fit specific Korean standards, not even Korean American or American, but Korean standards, right?
Uh-huh.
And as I got older, I took back that storyline. I was like, no, I actually am in my own way because my definition of beauty is this,
Yes.
not someone else's.
Yes. And even when you said that, Co, your tone changed. You're like, this is my definition of beauty. It's like your tone and even like your body language
Yeah.
change. And so I can imagine someone who is really authentically being their self and owning their story, owning their mess and their accomplishments, that there's power in that. And not only is there power in the way that you're sort of coming to like the room, but that has sort of I would imagine, does that like impact like your colleagues? Like that sort of air that you bring.
Of
That
course,
kind of,
right?
yeah.
Um, they might feel inspired to be more. They might show up more authentically
Yeah.
with you if you do that.
Yeah.
There might still be some people who judge you, like, "Oh, she's too authentic." Oh, what does that mean? I don't
Or
know.
she's changed, or he or she's
Or
changed, or
yeah,
whatever.
exactly, right?
Yeah.
For people
Yeah.
who've seen you a
Yes.
certain way,
Yes.
and that's okay. That's not again a reflection of you, right? Can you take back your power there?
Yes. I love that you say that it's not a reflection of you, because I feel like, and maybe I'm projecting into this conversation, there could be a tendency to be like, that is who I am. Like I'm making that person uncomfortable, or I'm causing this sort of, this awkwardness between the interaction at work or what have you. But knowing who you are and being confident in the way that you are coming to that conversation. Um,
Yeah. I think there are two things I would add. Um, it is exhausting to be someone else all the time. Or it is exhausting to code switch
yes.
all the time.
Yeah.
And then the second thing is people change. Mindfulness has taught me that change is a constant. Every breath is different. Every day is different. Every person can change. Even if the core of you might still be there, but like every day you're changing.
What would be your message to someone who feels still that their voice just doesn't matter? Let's say they're doing the meditation, they're doing all the things, they're trying really hard to make sort of progress, but there's still, there's still a reluctance or a resistance to showing up.
At some point, it might not even be you. It might just be the environment.
Ooh.
So do you just change your environment as well?
Oh, yeah. I love
And
that.
then if you're really stuck, right?
Yeah.
Ask for help.
Yeah.
I did not do this and on my own. I had teachers and guides and community along the way. Talk to other people about your struggles.
Yeah. That's something we're not very good at doing, huh? As generally speaking, reaching out and admitting that we need help.
Yeah, and the irony is that people love to help. People love to help because it helps their sense of self. They want to feel like they're meaningful in someone else's lives.
Yeah.
So give them the opportunity to do that and help you, because I would bet if your best friend was in the same position, you would jump in to help. You would not judge them.
True. Yeah.
So I would say,
So true.
I ask for a lot of help.
Yeah.
Ask for help all the time. But I have to be mindful of like, how many times I'm asking for help?
Yes, I get
People's
that.
time is valuable
Yes.
too. I get that.
I get that.
So I'm on the other end of the spectrum now. But
Totally.
if you're feeling stuck,
Yeah.
ask.
Is there a permission slip you could give us?
Let yourself fail.
Oh, I
Right. Back to the
love
perfectionism.
that.
Let yourself fail.
Love that.
Sit with it.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it?
Yeah.
How does it feel in your body? And then what do you want to do with it? Don't just sit with it. Like, what do you want to do with it? You want to let it go? Fine. That's fine. You want to move through it? Great. You want to ask for help? Awesome.
Yeah.
Failure is just an inevitable part of being.
I love that you say that. I love that you say that because I think that the Asian American community, generally speaking, right, there's so many of us, but generally speaking, we are perfectionists. We are strivers. We're achievers. We want the best grades, generally
Yep.
speaking. And then this idea of allowing ourselves to fail, but also normalizing it.
Yeah.
I really
Yeah.
appreciate you
And
saying
I'd rather you fail and have tried, because at the end of your life, I don't want anyone to have any regrets. I should have tried this, or I should have said that. What would it have cost at the moment?
Yeah.
It might have felt big in the moment,
Yeah. Yeah.
but in the grand scheme of your life,
Yeah.
taking that step towards growth through failure
Ooh,
or
yes.
small successes,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's a beautiful thing.
That is a beautiful thing. And that's where your authenticity and your vulnerability and connection comes into play. That's what life is all about, is it not? Like it is. It's about continuously growing. Failure is going to be an inevitable part of growing. Well, your career, your life has certainly been a masterclass in
Oh,
growth and authenticity. And I am so grateful to you again for your time and what you have taught us about really being authentically who we are.
yeah, of course.
That was
Thank you
good.
for having me.
Yeah, no, this was so much fun. It's no secret, I am a huge fan of therapy. It's one of the most important ways that I've supported my own growth over the years. And this is why Courage Class is so excited to partner with Anise Health this month, an AAPI-focused online therapy platform that I have personally used. And I genuinely loved my experience and felt immediately that the therapist I was matched with understood where I was coming from. She understood my goal for the session, and somehow I laughed and I cried as we spent the entire time talking about my struggle with perfectionism. This to me is the hallmark of culturally attuned care. She understood the history of perfectionism in the Asian American community as a woman and knew exactly how to weave that in and out of the conversation without judgment of me. I take my mental well-being very seriously and want nothing but the best for you guys. If therapy is something you're considering, Anise is offering a free intake session this month. Just use my code COURAGEMAY, COURAGEMAY, to get matched with a therapist who understands your lived experience. Fan of therapy. Thanks for joining me on this episode of Courage Class. I hope today's conversation gave you a little encouragement and inspiration. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe so you never miss an episode. And for extra motivation, tools, and behind-the-scenes content, sign up for my newsletter. I'd love to share with you more there. See you next time.